I acknowledge that what I share on here is based on something that's already happened, which means I've already experienced it. So, you know how that works between future proves past, back to the future, right? And the speed at which we're completing a circuit between two planetary magnetic poles. I'm androgynous. That's called a union, a unici. Experiencing the first signal. But I had an experience last night, and so what I do is I share what I learn by what I experience having a relationship with other spirits that I've met throughout my life. Okay, and I'm sure that most of us can identify with this. Now we're into identity platforms, identity in spirit form, in spiral form, as codes. Cells that are sensing other cells, which means antennas, cellular antennas at the microcellular, microorbital level are sensing spirits in cells. So I had a pretty wild childhood and teenage years because so much was happening simultaneously so fast when you think of frame rates, ISO, barcodes, the codes. The speed at which change is taking place over time-space vectors, right? And the success that we were going to have performing our missions here. And so there was a young lady that I met when I was a freshman in high school, which would have been 1967. And so sometimes I reminisce and do like a data review of my journey when I have some free time to do that, particularly when I'm listening to music, particularly when I'm listening to Amarea. And then my heart begins to sing and my heart begins to cry. But they're actually tears of joy, like Turtle Island tears, when I remember spirits that I've met in my lifetime. The ones that made a positive impact on your spirit because of how beautiful it is to be in the presence of their spirit, which is their energy, which means my cells are sensing what her cells are experiencing, the spirits in her cells. So last night when I was listening to Amarea, she came back, like being brought back into time. And I remembered her. And her name was Robin Els. She was a senior in high school, and I was a freshman in high school. But I came to know her through her younger brother, whose name was Craig Els, who sadly, I guess, is gone, I guess, by the time he was 47 years of age because he became a bank robber as a result of drugs. And how that relates to cycles and generational cycles of trauma-based mind control, or if you will, density factors. So when I think of that particular family, here you had a father and a mother, and I knew the whole family. So you had a mother and a father, and then you had Robin, who was the oldest. She was firstborn. She was the oldest girl. And then you had Jody, which was the next girl. And then you had Craig. Craig was my friend as a freshman in high school. I met Robin, his older sister. And being in the presence, what I remembered would cause me to cry. It was because I remembered her spirit. Because she was always so smiley. But it wasn't a fake smile, like when you go to work for a department store. Put a smiley face on for the customers because you know how important a smiley face is, right? In love and service to others. Robin didn't have a fake smile. I was experiencing the energy of her spirit, which is sensing what her cells are experiencing, which is the spirit in all her cells. And yet you can see as a contrast, you know how you're contrasting the spectra, which is the electromagnetic spectrum, of the difference between her and her sister. They were not the same spirits. Okay? Because Jody, who was her younger sister, rarely had a smile on her face the same way that Robin did. Nor did Craig, nor did her mother. She was different from all the others. Robin was different from all the other siblings, including her mother and her father. And you can put this in the context of waves. Waves, waveform spirals that come through time-space vectors into realms, particularly ones that are fallen, into a phantom hole. Yeah. So I wanted to thank her in a public way because she was one of the most beautiful spirits that was kind, generous, thoughtful, considerate, polite, and outpouring of her energy because she cared so much about others. She brought a smile and her spirit wherever she came in. She could light a room up. You know what it means to light a room up? She's bringing the real light in there. That's a real spirit. That is not an imposter spirit. Because when I was a child growing up, I used to say, get real. Because we're reading your light. Your light is dead. That's a real one. Because I'm sensing the spirit in her cells. Because she's running on real light. Which means she's experiencing love in her heart. That's called a heart read. Which is the emotional intelligence. Which is a creative intelligence. Which is a perpetual motion of Amareya. The first spark. The first sound creation spheres. That creative engine is on fire. And you can't ever put that fire out. That's the eternal flame of Adama Amareya. Have a beautiful day.